In 2014, Night Vale toured Europe for the first time with our live show called The Librarian. Per the title, this piece had quite a few literary jokes and references, and my co-writer Joseph Fink and I did some rewrites before taking this show out of the US because we weren't sure that a joke about, say, Larry McMurtry would land in Glasgow. So we made a reference there to Robert Burns, or in Oslo, we called out Henrik Ibsen, Peg Sayers in Dublin, and so on. But during the curtain call, our MC Meg Bashwinner always included a proverb to the but during our curtain calls, our MC Meg Bashwinner always includes a proverb to end the night. The proverb for this show was, as the great Herman Melville once said, call me. I really like that joke. It's not a knee slapper, but it's cute. It's a good like button at the end of the night, especially in a show about literary things. Of course, bringing this show to Europe, we weren't certain whether or not the joke playing off the most famous open line God, cannot speak. Of course, bringing this show to Europe, we weren't certain that this joke playing off the most famous opening line in American literature would land in, say, Stockholm or Munich or Helsinki. Maybe it was just Meg's incredible delivery. Maybe Call Me Ishmael is well known in most English-speaking circles, no matter the country. I'm not sure, but that line worked on this tour. It worked in London, it worked in Edinburgh and Berlin, it worked in Paris and Cologne and so on. It didn't work, however, in Amsterdam. In fact, it kind of went the opposite direction. So as Meg spoke the doctored quote from Herman Melville, it was crickets, like no laughs, not for the proverb anyway, because there was a beat of silence after she said it, and then an audience member audibly said, I don't know who that is. And then people laughed. I told our London-based comedian friend Desiree Birch about this moment, and she said, oh yeah, Dutch audiences are a wild ride. And that same tour, we had a tour manager named Natalie, who was from the Netherlands, grew up near Utrecht. Natalie was great, still is. She taught us, though, the 2009 Dutch word of the year, swaffelen, which means to deliberately tap your penis against an object. And then in 2016, the Dutch made this week's film, Prey, a CGI-forward horror comedy about a lion who's more of a serial killer slasher than a man-eater. So anyways, that's how the Dutch are doing these days. To be fair, we've played shows in the Netherlands many times since 2014, and they are consistently like one of our favorite audiences. They show up in big numbers and give back some great energy. So that first show probably had more to do with us or that particular night than it did people just being Dutch. Also, the Dutch created Brooklyn, and I'm a huge fan of the New York Liberty. So light it up, Dutch friends. Hi, Cecil.
Hi, Jeffrey.
What's your favorite city that we've performed in? Like if
Oh,
you saw like a tour lineup, like what city do
just
you
the
think?
city.
Just
Just the
this.
city.
I
I
guess like
mean,
the venue kind of goes hand in hand with that.
it does. Well, like it's hard to divorce the show experience from the city experience because if, we're just talking cities, Edinburgh is one of my favorite
Yes.
European cities, but we have never had like a super exciting show in Edinburgh. Like, I
No.
think it's always been like kind of a doomed experiment where we're like, well, that just happened.
Edinburgh and Calgary are kind of the two cities where we
Yes.
always have like a weird vibe happening. And they're
Yeah.
both big fringe cities, I believe.
Yeah,
No,
but that's
Edmonton
not
is.
true.
Oh, yeah.
Like we have had good experiences actually when we were at the Edinburgh Fringe doing Night Vale.
Hmm.
But then when we did a Night Vale show in Edinburgh during the off season, man, they looked at us like like get out of town. Like we had punched their mama in the face
Hmm.
as opposed to trying to do some weird internet comedy for them. So Edinburgh, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And then also Amsterdam is a really fun city. But then I think when we were performing, we were actually performing kind of on the like in the suburbs, which was really
We
interesting.
were
The
performing
sort
in
of
Utrecht, actually. It's the last several
was it?
times we've
Oh,
gone. It's the city of Utrecht. Yeah.
so like I've now like, as a youth, I thought there was only one city in the Netherlands, and that was Amsterdam.
Hmm.
Because with a country that big, there can be only one. And then I learned through traveling with Night Vale, Utrecht is the shit, y'all.
It's so cute. It's so
It's
nice.
because it is a university town. It has its own sort of like historical canal district that is like, I don't know, 3 blocks long, 4, 5 or 6, if I'm being generous. But it has that little historical district feel.
Yeah.
It's got like on a sunny day, people are out chilling next to the canal. You're not being offered, shitty cocaine on the street like you are
Uh-huh.
in the streets of Amsterdam. And honestly, the venue staff so this is one where like the venue and the city go together. The venue staff is impeccable.
This
The
is
venue is amazing.
Tivoli Writtenberg, which is where we usually
Like
perform.
top marks,
Oh,
top marks.
absolutely. Yeah. So that venue is the most, I think the most professional venue we go
Yeah,
to. It's
it's
stellar.
acoustically amazing.
Uh-huh.
Like it's one of those venues, like as a performer, when you walk on stage, you're like, I could do this entire show acoustically, and the audience could still, with like a little bit more projection, which
Hmm.
makes my little Shakespearean actor heart so proud.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while we get those where I'm like, oh, this would be so cool. Because it like you get into these spaces and you're like, oh my God, this is an old school theater that
Yeah.
was built with acoustics in mind.
Yeah.
And then everybody else backstage was just so like, what can we get for you? Maybe hold the door for you. I was like, y'all are just the best.
Yeah. Love that venue.
What
Love
about
that
you?
so
What about
much.
you, Jeffrey? What's your city of choice?
I miss getting to do shows at Union Chapel in Islington in London. I
Oh
love Union
yeah,
Chapel and I
touch
love that
touch that piece of the
neighborhood.
Plymouth Rock.
Yep. And I love that venue. The sound and the look of that venue is stellar. I
Hmm.
mean, the backstage is real dank. Like
I
it
mean,
almost
it's like a
it's an old
church.
church. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
like there's like like old people doing Tai Chi and
yeah,
playing
you're not
bingo and
getting the
stuff.
amenities of like a
No,
Fox Theater or Pabst Theater or even
no.
Tivoli Utrecht. But it's just such a wonderful venue, and that neighborhood is really sweet and nice. So I would get excited anytime we got to do a Union Chapel show. It was really, really fun. Um, honestly, I because I'm from there, I really have enjoyed getting to do our shows at the Texas Theater in Dallas. It's
Oh, sure.
just because it's such a familiar theater, and actually,
Yeah,
it's a historic venue. That's where Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested.
yeah.
So it's pretty wild. It's a really cool thing to
That's
get
that
to
big
do the
one
show there.
downtown, right?
No, that's the Majestic, the one in
Oh, okay,
downtown, which was cool
gotcha.
because we got to do a big show there a
Yeah,
couple
because
times.
that's where
And
I got to sign the wall. Like it's always like it was such an honor when the venue staff would be like, they would watch the show and then you could tell that they were like, oh, we are now asking you to sign our wall. We're like, oh,
yeah.
we've passed some sort of ritual or
Uh-huh.
test.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, here, you can sign it next to Johnny Cash if you want. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, yes, I do want.
Hmm. The Majestic is like the really big fancy stage venue in downtown Dallas that it's got the classic theater marquee
Yeah,
out front and everything. And the first time I remember I think I was in college was the first time I actually went to the Majestic and I went to go see oh God, what's the two-hander has the word gin in the title? Gin Game.
the gin game.
Saw
Yeah.
the Gin Game starring Charles Durning and Julie Harris.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah, it was
I
like
love
back
Julie
in the
Harris.
90s. It was so cool. And so it was really neat to get to do a show on that same stage. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I
great.
Union Chapel will always be, I think, my favorite venue and
Yeah.
combined with that area too was great. Well, we got a visit to Amsterdam in this
Yes, we
film.
did.
We rolled animal scare and foreign language style, which I would say a good 60% of this movie is in Dutch.
Yeah, sure.
I was really
Most mostly.
on Prime. So on Prime, it's really interesting because this movie was available in two different ways. It was available for rental in Dutch, or it's available for free or for Prime members in the English dub version. And the
Oh,
English dub version is just a movie called Uncaged
okay.
from 2020. And I thought, did they do a sequel? Because it's the same director, same cast. And I
Weird.
started watching that one. I'm like, nope, this is the same movie. It's just dubbed in English. And I thought, well, I
Oh,
definitely need to watch the Dutch version because that's what we rolled as foreign
yes.
language.
And then
And
and then when the British character gets introduced, they start speaking English anyway.
I thought, what happened here? What's going on? Why is everyone talking in English again? Uh,
Now
anyways,
here's
yeah,
my thing,
go ahead.
Jeffrey. This is it does take place in Amsterdam, But this is not the Amsterdam I know. This
No,
is
other than like one
literally,
or two canal shots.
this is the cleanest I have ever seen Amsterdam ever.
Yeah.
When they're in the airport, when they're by the canals, when they're in Vondel Park, when they're in the suburbs. They must have scrubbed this city down with a fucking like water hose in
Uh-huh.
order to shoot this film.
This is like being in movies that take place in like Paris as a romantic city. I'm like, what? They had garbage service that day? What happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no pee. I can't smell the pee.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
There
Paris
was
is a lovely city. I live in New York City, which is the same. It's a lovely, lovely
Mhm.
town, but it
Just
is
don't get dripped on by the garbage water from above.
yeah, it's a little bit of a hellscape as well. I mean, but
Yes.
uh yeah, I agree. It's definitely a part of the not touristy areas of Amsterdam for the most part, which I
Yeah.
really enjoyed getting to see. I like their lovely little park filled with
Yeah.
places for lions to hide in. It was
I
great.
know.
I wanted a really quick story that I forgot to include in my intro, and I'm just now jostling loose to bring up Natalie again, our tour manager. On another tour later, we had flown into, is it Schiphol Airport? Is that how
Schiphol.
you
Yeah.
say it?
Schiphol.
Yeah. In Amsterdam. So we'd flown in there, and then we were waiting for a long time at the baggage claim to get our baggages. And then eventually there's a digital screen with messages up there that show you what flights and whatever else. And the screen suddenly changed and it just said the line, Alle baggage ist gelost.
Mhm.
Gelost. And so I'm like, they lost our baggage. And Natalie's like, no, it just means it's being sorted. It's like they're
Oh,
just saying they finally got the baggage and it's being
all
sorted.
baggage is lost.
And so that's I was just walking around being like, all our baggage is lost.
I had one of those moments in this where they're like, the park is bloodbath. I was like,
I
I think I can suss out what that
think I
means.
know what that means.
Bloodbath. Dutch is such a weird language. I'm looking at the IMDb page and I'm like, you don't put that many there's like K's and O's and J's. Just it's like a Scrabble tile massacre.
Yes. It's like German but cuter. That
Yes.
Dutch language. Yeah.
Like less
It's
guttural
uh-huh.
and more bouncy.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into this movie.
I don't know about you, but I had fun with this movie because it's so dumb.
It's
This movie
so
is
it's so
dumb
stupid. Yeah. Actually, you know what
and
movie
you
I
have to
thought of?
lean into it.
What the movie I thought of while watching this film, not that they are the same film by quality or whatever, but I thought of Piranha 3D. And the reason I
Okay.
thought of Piranha 3D, it's a similar type of horror comedy about
Yeah.
a bloody slashery thing. Piranha 3D though is definitely going after the like the sexploitation
Yes.
kiddie beach party stuff of
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
80s
yes.
slasher movies.
Yeah.
And
Meets
it
90s
goes
girl gone wild mentality. Yeah.
and also like the goriness of a movie like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
and this movie is more blood splattery and less like intestines pouring out. There's a little bit of that, but it's more like severed limbs and shit. And
I mean, yeah, for sure.
less titties. It actually even has a moment where it references wanting to see a woman naked and then they're just like they pull back the
Just
joke.
kidding.
Yeah, just
Yeah, just
kidding.
kidding. This movie, it kind of reminds me of Cocaine Bear a little
Yeah,
bit. Like
yeah,
it's that, but not American humor.
yes.
So it's fun
It's fun.
watching
Yeah,
that Dutch humor
it
trying
is.
to trying to work itself out.
The the home of Swafflin, and we get this.
Uh-huh.
So we've got a lion cam. It opens with like lion cam and
I
driving
love it.
synth music, and a shadow goes by this little girl's bedroom window at night. Um, I always think of Johnny and Eileen from Uike Horror, and they talk about in like Latin American horror films. And I think this is true just outside of North America. They will kill the kid. They will
Oh, sure.
absolutely kill the
Yeah.
child.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think Europe is no different in that
Oh, yeah.
way.
Hollywood is sentimental as fuck.
Yeah, we can't kill the kid. Kid's got
Don't
to
kick the
live.
dog. Don't kill the kid.
Kid has to die off screen if the kid's gonna die.
Yeah.
Um, we've got these like young couple getting home on a motorcycle late to their
Hmm.
little farmhouse.
Kissing
They
with tongue.
kissing with tongue. I didn't understand the scene. Does he draw a knife on her? Why does he draw his what? He takes out a switchblade.
Does he?
Yeah. And then he hears a noise, but then we cut to inside with dad and mom in bed, like
Oh, I thought
farmer
it was like
dad.
he heard the noise and then he drew the switchblade.
That's what I think, but there's like a moment in watching it, like there's not like a dialogue that's explaining what's happening and why the switchblade is out. So it took me a second to figure out what was going on.
They're into some really kinky shit,
I
Jeffrey.
guess
It's
it's
like
not the first time we're gonna watch.
just cut my titty right here. Just cut it right here.
It's
Just
not the
so
first
gentle.
time we're gonna watch somebody just draw a switchblade just very suddenly.
Or a gun.
Or a gun. Jesus Christ. So dad wakes up, goes outside. He's like, that boy's no good. And he gets out there, but there's just a motorbike and no kids.
Oh, it's weird.
I think this opening visual gag set me on the wrong path with this
Yeah.
movie.
Uh-huh.
It took me a bit to recover. And what he sees is his daughter kneeling down, but just the backside of her visible, the rest of
Like
her
around a corner.
hidden behind the corner. And it looks like she is giving a blowjob, like she's bobbing her head up and down.
And dad is like, what?
But then something grabs her and then pulls her off the screen. And dad follows, and he gets got to by something off screen. Mom draws a gun, goes outside, also gets got.
People in Amsterdam are strapped.
I, I don't know gun laws in Amsterdam. I presume they're pretty tight, like a lot of Northern Europe, but I don't know.
But it was kind of shocking. Like mom goes right for the pistol.
Yeah,
I was like, are we in America?
we're gonna
What's
learn
going
later
on?
that lions are bulletproof.
Oh my God. Aren't they?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely bulletproof.
So, uh, she gets dragged down, and then daughter just like hides
Yeah.
under her sheets.
And then we see a quick little shot. This was the moment where I was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing, which I kind of like that moment of, am I actually watching what I'm watching? In which we see the motorbike. And then as the
Oh,
lion from off screen marks its territory.
is that what I thought it was blood? I thought that way it
I
was
don't
marking
think
its territory.
so.
Okay.
I think it does its business. I think it does a number one.
Okay. So then cut to more synth rock music and overhead shot of the Artist Zoo of Amsterdam. I, so this movie, by the way, all throughout this movie, this lion has is it is the most inexplicable
Oh,
horror villain we have
uh,
seen.
so many
Where did the lion
questions.
come from?
Where did the lion come
They
from?
never answer that. It didn't come from the zoo. There were no
Why does it
escaped
behave
lions.
like a lion? Why doesn't it behave like a lion?
Why is it just
Why
slashing
does it
people?
behave like, the Terminator?
I, I did it come from the
And then,
future to kill Sarah Connor? What is happening?
spoiler alert, why are there two male lions cavorting around together?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, sorry. That's the way the movie ends, which is kind of a cool, like, oh, it's a twist. Not really a
Yeah.
twist, but I was like, yeah, usually male lions, they don't really get along too well.
No.
But I was
But
like, oh, it's Amsterdam. They're gay lions.
I
They're here for Pride Week. Ha 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 ha. Pride Week. To get it, Jeffrey?
That's really good. That's very, very good.
Thank you.
High fives across the Zoom screen to you. Well, I will ask this because wrote down in my notes at the end when the second lion is revealed. Sorry, spoiler. I know we already said that in the
I know
intro,
we
but
did that in the
still.
beginning. Yeah.
But I thought that was a female lion. It looked because we see it so briefly,
Oh,
but you're right. No, when we do see it, because
it looks like a big ass lion. It's a
when it first
big male
attacks, I
lion,
thought
right?
that looks like a female lion the way it was drawn. But then when she kills that one by driving it into the train,
It looks
I
like
think
a
it does have a male.
male
It does
lion.
have a mane, doesn't it?
And
Yeah,
also,
you're
I
right.
think that's how they get away with the fact that they shoot this lion no less than 300 times.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, they're actually shooting two lions.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's never an explanation for like what's its MO?
Yeah,
Where did
where
it
did it
come
come from?
from?
Why is it what they're like, why is it pick the city? Like the most inexplicable place to for a wild creature to be like chomp chomp chomp.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like the African land bridge for the lion to wander all the way up to Netherlands.
And I love their explanation. They're like, well, isn't there a lion on the flag? Duh. You can tell that this movie was like they were in a bar, the creators, which one of the creators is called Dick Moss, which
Hmm. That's Taco Bell's old slogan.
uh-huh, Dick
Taco
Moss.
Bell, Dick Moss.
Yes, please. They were like looking at the flag, they're like, oh my God, what if Lion
Hmm.
plus Amsterdam?
Yeah.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yes.
And that is exactly as much, that's as far as they went.
That does seem as far as they went. I really was anticipating at least just a cursory explanation because Piranha
Yeah.
3D gives us an explanation.
Yeah.
Is it silly? Is it
Underwater
dumb?
cave. Yeah. No,
Sure.
we even get the whole like Christopher Lloyd sciencing,
Yeah.
theorizing. We even get to go to the underwater cave.
Yeah.
They're like, they've been cannibalizing each other for years. And this one, like, as far as we get, is theory one, something blah blah blah, climate change, disrupting behavior. Okay, line what?
Say more. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh, Theory number two, um, rich people keep rich, crazy continental rich people keep lions on their property as status symbols, and they might have escaped.
Yes.
And that is what we've got.
I was interested in any of these, just a little, just a tad, just a something, something.
But it doesn't say why the lions are so angry.
No.
Like, why are they super lions? Like, that explains why there's lions on the loose.
Yes.
But if you're going to make Cocaine Bear, that explains why the bear is like the unstoppable terminator of bears
Yes.
and not just a movie about a bear,
Yes.
which could go many directions, not necessarily into horror movie.
Yes.
A movie about a lion, which I'd like to point out there are so many goddamn movies called Prey, half of which involve lions.
Uh-huh.
Trying to find this movie, I was like, no, not the Idris Elba one. Jesus Christ, no, give me the one. No, 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 the other stupid lion movie called Prey.
Proi.
Prey.
Prooi, I think is the Dutch title. It's the easiest way to find this. Well, we're gonna open
Rant,
at
rant over.
yeah, and
Okay.
I have more rant to go, but yes, we'll see how far we get. Uh, we're gonna meet our zoo vet, Lizzie, who's our main
Lizzie
character.
Storm.
Lizzie Storm.
Jeffrey, you're a
Uh-huh.
writer.
Uh-huh.
I know you love naming characters.
This is a great name. A
I
plus.
for the rest of the film, when I found out her name was Lizzie Storm, I just kept like whenever she'd appear on the screen and just started acting in any situation, I'd be like, Lizzie Storm is disappointed. Lizzie Storm is sad. It's like such like an X-Men comic book name.
I think this movie is the epitome of like just a paperback thriller, right? Like
Yeah,
it's just it
it's comic
everybody
book.
is way
Yeah,
it's a comic book. It's wafer thin, like the
yeah,
characters are real trope type,
yeah.
the archetypes and it follows some real basic ass storylines and it's a vehicle. It's like a simple cracker to hold your fancy cheese. I do think
Fancy.
yeah, well, I was gonna say, typically like a nice just water cracker to hold your
Uh-huh.
fancy like aged manchego. But
Uh-huh.
in this case, you just get like a cube of
It's
like,
Gouda.
yeah,
It's
it
Dutch
is.
Gouda.
It's yeah, if that. I was gonna say just like a block of like Kraft sharp cheddar. But yeah, we also meet her boyfriend Dave, who is a cameraman for the AT5 local news,
Yeah.
AT5 Amsterdam. And there's a their relationship is thus.
Their relationship is wild.
It just felt very European. I just am not going to get much more explanation on
The
why they're
relationship,
like
it's
this.
very continental, their relationship.
It is the whole thing is we hear from the assistant, she makes an allusion to Dave having cheated on Lizzie.
Hmm.
Well, the scope of what that cheating was is never really spelled out,
Sure.
but it involved him filming a woman at a nightclub
Yes.
because he soon after this opening scene like gets confronted by this man in the streets of like, I want the tape you shot. And then that storyline goes nowhere.
Nowhere. Or it's like he kissed a girl in a club. I think Dave is just a flirt, is the
Yes.
problem. Dave is
Yes.
like the floppy haired pretty boy flirt, and Lizzie is the sort of like professional. She's like does science, but she kind of dresses like she's on the WB inexplicably. So clearly this they're going to have troubles here.
Yes.
But yeah, when Dave gets confronted by that girl, I was like, "Excuse me, you owe that lady a tape.
Yeah.
Sex work is work. You need to
Yeah.
invoice him."
Yeah.
And
I
Lizzie kind of steps in and she's like, "He'll get it to you tomorrow."
yeah.
He's a doofus.
Yeah.
He's a pretty boy doofus. For just a second, it looked like you kissed that guy next to you.
Oh. I don't know how that looked on
That
camera, but
looked
there.
no, that looked perfect actually.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. Hello, YouTube. Okay, so we're now gonna meet Brinkers, who works for the he's a detective with the police
Yes.
office.
He's like assistant detective.
Yeah. And he's called Lizzie out because they have investigated the deaths of these people on this farm,
Yeah.
this whole family. Like even this little we find like the body parts of this little girl by the
I know.
river. I'm like, woof.
Well, no, they do
Because
they find the
remember,
girl? I think they say the girl is missing.
they do say the girl is missing, and then right after that, they
And then they kind
find,
of find her like immediately later.
yeah, they find almost immediately, they're like, oh, well, they don't say there
Oh,
she is, but they go out there and they're like, we found another. And I'm like,
oh,
it's
there she
implied
is.
that's the girl.
Okay.
I think that's how it is
I guess that
because
makes
of,
sense. That's why they have the gun, because they're farmers. That
yes,
makes sense.
yes. Although a handgun
Although
for a
why a
farmer
handgun?
is
I don't
weird,
know. Yeah, I guess.
I
Sort of.
guess. So, she, Brinkers has called on Lizzie before. They reference a red panda
Animal
case
expert.
or something. Yeah.
The case of the red panda.
Yes. And
It's Lizzie Storm. Lizzie Storm is on the case.
Lizzie Storm in the case
Lizzie
of the
Storm,
red
the case of
panda
the red pandas.
and the red panda caper.
Yep. Absolutely. Like, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
that's
that's the tone of this movie.
it really is.
Yeah. Which would be a way better name because it would Prey just sounds so much like a horror thriller.
Yeah.
And two, it sounds like 15 other movies that have been made in the
Uh-huh.
last 25
Yes.
years. So she oh, by the way, as a side note, when Janina and I were writing our novel, which we eventually titled You Feel It Just Below the Ribs, one of the original titles we had submitted was The Great Reckoning because that's a major event in the lore of the book. And we thought Great Reckoning is awesome, or just The Reckoning could be really interesting. And our publisher was like, I would really recommend not calling your book The Reckoning, which I like because it's the name of an event in the universe of the book, and
Okay.
also Reckoning just sounds like it's kind of what the main character is having to reckon with her
Hmm.
past. And Amy, our publisher, sent
What was
me a
it?
list of books with the name with the word
Oh,
reckoning from just the last 10 years, and it was like
oh,
half a page long.
oh my God.
She
Wow.
said, just I would recommend finding a
You're
title
like
that is not
anything but this.
reckoning. Yes.
Anything.
I wish they'd done this for Prey. But yeah, Lizzie Storm the
And the lion, the reckoning of the lion.
yes. So she recognizes the flesh wounds and the tracks and is like, this is a lion. Like I remember these from my trip in Tanzania many years ago and whatever else. And okay, here's the line of jokes. Brinkers was like, what could have done this? You pit bulls? No. Rottweilers? No. Chris Brown? Isn't he in prison?
I was also like, are we doing topical humor? Is it celebrity humor?
What is happening?
It's like an open mic night, this movie.
It really is. Um, hold on just a second. Like I have to uh I was just trying to I'm sorry. I don't know why I bogged down for that, but I was just wondering I was like, did Chris Brown go to prison and when did that whole incident I don't even know.
Topical.
Anyways, very weird. Um, but yeah, she's now got a she's got this case. We got to figure
She
out
solved the
this lion
case.
situation. But then we cut to the golf course. That's the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for. We cut to the
The
golf course.
golf.
Golf. And we've got these three golf dads who I don't know if the storyline is important, but they're all in partnership together. One of them's getting kicked out because he's kind of a dick. The point is, one of them loses his ball in the woods, goes into the
Hmm.
little woods area to find his ball. The other guy comes in there to say, "Hey, here's this contract. We
We're
need you. We
buying
want
you
you
out of the
out. We're buying
company.
you out." And as he's about to sign the agreement, lion,
Lion strike.
lion strike, blood splatter across the face
I do like this lion attack
that it just
because
comes
it
so
like,
sudden.
well, it's like someone threw a water balloon filled with blood at the camera
Yeah, yeah.
because we haven't actually seen the lion yet.
No.
We've seen lion cam and we've seen the lion drag people away, or we've seen people being dragged away, I should say. And this is same. Like they're trying to
Yeah.
tease this shit out
Yeah.
much as they can.
Yeah.
But it's just like blood splatter. And these sort of like pastel dude bros, golf dads,
Uh-huh.
nothing makes blood pop like a nice pastel polo. Very Patrick Bateman of them.
It is. So now we're now we're really like, well, this is definitely a lion attack. Look at how it drug it away. Look at the paw
There's
prints and
paw
the
prints
sand
at the
trap.
sand. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got proof, quote unquote.
We're gonna meet the chief of police, the head cop.
I mean, buffoonery. This is
Yes.
this is just pure like commedia dell'arte clownery.
I I maybe as a writer push too hard on this, but I really like I think if you're gonna like tease at something, if you're gonna kind of go hard into comedy, I do think there needs to be some point of view, especially a political satire.
Yeah,
And the political satire in this movie is all over the map.
it's wild.
It's really wild.
I mean, its heart's kind of in the right place.
I think so. But it's definitely like going after this. It's definitely going after the police and how
Yeah,
this elected official is just in it for,
yeah,
or not elected official, but like public official is just
yeah.
in it
Like kind
for
of
the
going after the
attention.
establishment that are like sort of stuffed shirts. It kind of goes after like ableism a little bit. It goes after like xenophobia a little bit.
Yeah,
And the lion, then becomes kind of like, hey, look at this little pocket of society that is kind of shitty.
yeah.
Rawr. Lion
There's definitely a
eats.
moment where it goes after, uh, you know,
like
progressive
neo-Nazis,
Green
and
Party types, because there's the guy who's on the city
that's
council. He's like, "Well, I'm
true.
from the left Green Party, and I think you have to have a permit if you want to kill this lion. And aren't they an endangered
But the
species?" I
lion
mean,
doesn't eat him. I mean, he's there, and I
he's
thought that was
there.
actually kind of funny.
I just thought it was like silly.
They're like,
That-
"Oh, this lefty liberal ruin our fun, bringing
yeah.
guns to the park."
Um, but it is just sort of also
Yeah.
jabbing at him because it's like 11 people are dead, and he's like, "Well, I don't think we should kill the lion because it's
Are we
endangered."
doing the right are we taking the right have we filled out all the right forms?
Yeah.
Are we is this really what I mean, people need this park to relax in for
Uh-huh.
their mental health.
That's right. Also, I think you have to have a permit to close the park, and yeah. Anyways, they want to head cop wants to have media silence, but the story's already out there
We
because
can't tell people there's a lion.
but people
Well,
already know because Dave and his field
oh,
reporter Martin have already
who
done
I
a
was like,
report.
okay, so this personal relationship, I was like, is that your friend, boyfriend, roommate, her friend, her, who, what is going on?
Uh, uh,
Generic. I was like, what is y'all's relationship?
you know what I think it is? I think the idea, but they never say this explicitly, but given
That's
kind of how
it.
the movie ends, when she's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Dave, if you want to spend the night, I think that'd be
Hmm.
really cool." I think Dave and Lizzie lived together. He
Yeah.
got his ass kicked out when he was
Yes.
doing whatever videotaping at the club and
He's
has been
crashing
crashing
on.
on
Yeah.
Martin's couch or guest room or
And
whatever.
Martin is like, ugh, stupid Dave and his stupid floppy hair.
Yes. And yeah,
And
so
Dave is
I
trying to get
think
back in
that's the
with Lizzie Storm.
relationship. I think he
Yeah.
and Martin are friends, but
Friends and
probably colleagues
coworkers.
first. Yeah.
But they like we it's all implied. I was like,
Yeah.
this is like an episode of Friends
Yeah.
with a killer lion, which
Yes.
honestly I would be here for.
Sure. Lions getting on the loose at Central Perk. I would
Hmm.
watch that movie. Um, okay. So we see the we see that we see the lion for the first time because we've got some
Yes.
pot smoking teens in a little
Oh
tunnel.
yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, gross, what is that? Is that a dead rabbit? Yuck." And then they bike away. And then it pans over to the dead rabbit, which is actually a human arm.
Just a full arm.
Yep. And then it pans up further and we see the lion sitting in the shadows of this tunnel.
I-
Yee.
Like, I guess, but also it's in a tunnel in like a major city
Yeah, I don't know.
all day,
Yes,
all day.
all day. No one saw it. Okay. Anyways, I don't fully understand any of this shit. It's just how any of this works. I don't know the actual population of Amsterdam, but it seems when I have been there before,
It's
it seems like
busy.
a pretty densely populated
It's a pretty busy
city.
city. It
Yeah.
does get quiet at night, I
Yeah.
think, in the city center,
Yeah.
except in the red light district, but
Yeah. Okay. Lizzie and Dave are gonna go back to her house and have dinner together. But at a there's a moment where in a scooter, a DoorDash guy on a
yeah. Oh
scooter
my
zips
God,
between the two of them,
this moment,
and Dave wants to start a fight with this guy.
like trying to like pull his dick out and be like, you almost hit my not a girlfriend. He's like, your not a girlfriend should have been standing in the street. Pulls out a knife.
Yeah. And by the way, Lizzie Storm is unaffected by
No,
the threats of violence.
no.
Like the guy pulls out a knife. She's like, Dave, I think you should calm down. Like
Yeah.
she's not like, whoa, de-escalate.
Boys, boys.
Later, when her ex-boyfriend Jack pulls out a gun and shoots a chandelier down in the
Oh
middle of
my
dinner at a
God.
restaurant, she's like, I think you should dial it back a little, Jack.
I know, right? We'll can we see the wine list?
And then not only does the scooter driver draw a knife, a switchblade on Dave, and Dave was like, "Oh wait, you do tandoor? Do you have like a lamb meal?"
Like a
He's like,
lamb
"Actually, that's
roti.
yeah, lamb roti. Can I get that? Oh, you have a bottle of wine too? Can I buy it?" So he just buys the
Yeah,
lamb roti and the wine off of this guy. He's like, "There we are, dinner for tonight."
amazing.
What?
Because his whole thing is that like Lizzie likes to eat frozen pizzas,
Uh-huh.
and Dave is like, ew, frozen pizzas are gross.
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, let the lady eat whatever the fuck she wants. It's her house.
Yeah. Yep.
So maybe don't be pulling knives on people in front of her door.
Well, he didn't pull the, to be fair, he did
That's
not
true.
pull a
That's
knife. It
true.
was the other guy. But maybe don't like start public
Shit.
shit with people because that shit will happen as a man will draw a knife on you.
I guess we have to see that Dave is like, I mean, he's like Mr. Charisma that can turn literally any, like his mouth gets him into trouble, but his mouth gets him out of trouble.
Yeah.
Like
And
he's
also
like roll 10 for charisma, you know?
the beat before this, when they're walking together, there's a moment where they see a shadow
Yes.
because he's saying, "Hey, I will protect you from this lion. I'll protect you from
Yes.
anything." And they see a shadow in the alley and she freezes and
Lion shaped.
he takes a step behind her.
I know.
And then the shadow comes out and it's just like an old woman who's hunched over and walking. And she was like, "Oh, that was a big hero move to step
Mm-hmm.
behind me."
Mm-hmm.
So he is probably also overcompensating in this moment here in his
Yes.
confrontation with this scooter driver. Well, the scooter driver delivers his food and then gets a phone call from the restaurant being like, "Hey, they told me you shorted this guy on
I
lamb
know.
roti and a bottle of wine." He's like, "No, I didn't. That's all you gave me, man."
Yeah. It's your fault.
But then he sees behind him
The
in the rearview
lion.
mirror the lion.
Turbo
Chase.
Turbo Lion. This
He
CGI, Jeffrey. This is what I paid my money for.
is such a video game looking lion.
It's like its feet don't really touch the ground.
It has zero weight.
That's
It's
it.
zero weight.
I love it. I love it because it's so dumb.
Yes. It's really, really silly. And we get like a little scooter chase, lion and scooter class.
Yeah.
Your classic lion chases a scooter through the canals. And this is pretty good. Like it's good
Yeah.
choreography where he gets cut off in traffic, has to turn left, but he
Yeah.
ends up in a parking garage
Yeah.
and
And he
he's
kind of
trying
like,
and
yeah.
he is racing out of there, but then the arm bar comes the bar comes down as he's trying to get out, and so takes the scooter on its side to get under it, but then he slides out and everything crashes into the canal.
And I was like, dude, just stay in the water. Lions
Yeah,
don't go in water. Or
no,
get in that boat that you're literally standing, just sit in the boat.
yeah. But he has to pop his head up and look
Oh,
around. And the thing about this lion has many superpowers. It's bulletproof.
yeah.
It is very strong. It is very
Yes.
fast. It is very
Mhm.
smart. And it is invisible until it wants to attack.
Oh, absolutely. Completely invisible and makes zero sound.
And just out of
It,
nowhere, there's a lion. Chomp.
it pops his head off like a grape.
Yeah. Like it just popped a
Like,
champagne.
yeah, like a bottle of champagne.
And then his
Like,
headless body falls back into the canal. Hmm.
I guess this is one of my things about this movie is that there's a lot of plot in between the lion strikes. But when
Yeah.
we get these action sequences, the action sequences are kind of fun. They're
Yeah.
silly and they're pretty video gamey, but they're fun. But they're not very like we get it always kind of accumulates in a moment of violence, but
Yeah.
we never see the violence for very long.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's a like, oh, surprise. And then that's off the screen as soon as possible.
Yeah. So they want to bring in like somebody to hunt the lion. And
Yes.
Lizzie's like, "I know a guy, Jack. He lives in London.
Yeah.
He's hunted
Super
lions. He's
professional.
very
Yeah.
professional. He's very good." And
He
the head
also
cop.
he also used to, used to hunt more than just lions. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. and different types of cats he's really into.
Yeah.
Yeah, hunting cat.
Big cat, you know?
So the chief of police is like, I actually, my cousin is a lion hunter. Then we cut to the shot
I
of
love it.
this cousin who is,
This is amazing. I mean, this is the dumbest of comedies.
hmm
Like, instantly, you're like, oh, big rich house, full of trophies. He's like wearing like penny loafers.
yes,
Like, oh, Mr. Like, like has like a
got a
big super
dandy mustache.
dandy mustache. His son has got like listening in on the other line, like, Daddy, Daddy, are we hunting lions? Oh, I'm so excited. And he's like, were you listening on the phone again? If you don't stop doing that, I'm never taking you to the girls. Like,
I'm never taking you to the girls again. I was like, what, does
yeah,
he take his son out to? I guess.
yes.
Yes. All right. Well,
I mean, if you live in
so continental,
when in
Cecil.
Amsterdam,
Yep.
when they're just like right there, and the government makes them, oh, sorry,
No.
little power brownout there for a
Oh,
second.
oh, that's very
Nope,
exciting.
still recording, still good.
Great. Awesome. So the plan is we're going to close the big main park at 6 p.m. Close the gates. Keep in mind,
How does
this
he
one.
know, Jeffrey? How does he know he's in the biggest park? I mean, I love this. Vondel Park is amazing. Listen,
Uh-huh.
perfect set piece
Yes.
because it's a big park. It's like, like it's not as big as Central Park,
Sure.
but it has Central Park vibes. Like
But
plenty
relative
of
to the
places.
city, it's huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
plenty of places for a turbo lion to hide.
Yes.
But
And also,
how does this rich doofus figure this out? He's like, well, we've coordinated the attacks and it lands us right here.
yeah, the only thing they show is he's got a map up and he slaps his pointer at the map, being like,
Yeah,
right here. That's where it is. I'm like, well, I would have loved an explanation.
yeah.
But they close all the gates of this park, and the idea is he's going to set up his traps for this
Hmm.
lion. And what he's got a half deer hanging out of a tree,
Yeah,
surrounded by giant bear traps,
yeah,
snap traps, and a little sound effects machine that
yeah.
makes lion roar 1,
Hmm.
lion roar 2, lion
Yep.
roar 3. And then he just sits in a pup tent some 6 feet away from
Oh my
this.
God. I was like, is this real? Because you are right on top of this trap.
Yeah,
This can't be real.
this cannot. And also, you know, A plus to the filmmakers for just being like, yep, here's it's not even Chekhov's bear traps. Like, we're setting these bear traps down and they're gonna go off within 3 minutes here.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
they're going to kill this man.
Yep.
They actually don't kill this man. What happens is he hears a noise and just out pops his dumb son.
I know. Well, because he's playing the lion roar and it's tense, and also like every time, do you see the face he pulls every time he takes a swig of the alcohol?
Oh yeah,
Because
he's
we
got to hit
know
the flask.
because that's the thing, like we know he's the bad lion hunter
Yeah.
because he's drinking on the job. He's a braggart. So like he's playing the little lion roar, and then off in the distance we hear a lion roar. We're like, oh, maybe this actually might work. But then his fucking son comes in he's got the little lion roar machine. So they were just like lion cat calling each other
Yes.
across the park.
And he's like, I'll never take you to the girls again. And then Lion just comes up from behind
Yeah.
Dad and just starts disemboweling him.
Yes.
And the son draws his rifle, but like is so nervous, doesn't know how to shoot, takes a step back into the bear trap, which knocks him over, and then into the other bear trap, which just goes right down the middle of him.
Like right through his shoulder. That was pretty good. That was a
That
good
was
one.
really good.
It's a good kill. That's a good one.
So then the police are following all this from a police helicopter above, and the helicopter is like, all right, I have eyes on the lion, but somehow the lion gets out of the park, which I thought they closed all the
This
gates.
is wild. They're like, we've got eyes on the lion. We've lost the lion. The lion is now 4 miles away in the city center. The lion is in a department store. The lion is now putting its feet up and watching the evening news.
Mm-hmm.
Like this lion is added to the list of lion superpowers. The lion can go through space portals.
Yeah. Yeah. Lion is like Nightcrawler and
Yeah,
X-Men. It's
that's right.
wild. So we see a shot of this train. Well, we see, down the aisle of the train of the
Lion
commuter
on a
train,
tram, lion on
lion
a
on the
tram,
tram.
lion on a tram.
And we see this little girl in a baby stroller in the aisle facing back towards the camera, and she's like, ah, "Pussy,
Kitty,
kitty!"
kitty.
And she just gets so excited by Kitty, and everyone turns around and they're like, "Oh shit!" And that lion corrals all of them to the front of the train, devours every one of them.
Yeah. And they're like all trying to like push into the tram driver, and the
Yep.
tram driver's like being pushed to the front. I love that the lion has like two settings:
Uh-huh.
stealth, kill.
Yeah.
Like the lion is legit on a tram, a crowded tram during rush hour. How does it get on the tram without being seen? Unknown.
Space-time portals.
FaceTime portals. The lion is on the tram. Nobody notices until this little girl is like, Kitty. People realize the lion just sits there.
Uh-huh.
And then the lion is like, okay, and kill.
Yes.
Like zero to kill.
Not just kill, puree. Like it's like
Like
blood.
this blender has two settings,
It's
off
like a
and puree.
xenomorph. It's
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
xenomorph, like right where you just see like blood splattering against the wall.
yeah. Dormant
So
puree, which is the like lions are, which is actually is relative is lions are like lions after they eat, you can like walk up to a lion and like sit on their face and they would not care because they're
yeah,
so fucking lazy.
yeah.
Like they don't like after they eat, which is why this movie makes like no sense at all.
Mm-mm.
Because like the lion would eat a meal and then it would take a nap for like 3 days
Yeah.
and just not do anything.
No. I don't know where this. I mean, we see a scene of lion shit earlier, but I have to. I feel like it has to be shitting constantly to make more room
Right?
for all of the things. But also, there are
It's got a
moments
really
where
great
I don't think it
metabolism.
actually eats the people. Like the
No.
it
It's
pops that
yeah,
dude's head off like a cork, but then just is like, well,
and just
fuck it.
leaves it.
Yeah,
Like it's like a picky eater. It's like num num num.
yeah.
They kind of make a
It is
big
a cat
deal.
though, and cats are
That's
famous for
true.
just liking to kill things.
Yeah. They're like, I'm gonna eat just a nibble of this bowl of food and then scratch your leg because
Uh-huh.
I don't want this food anymore.
No.
I want you to give me whatever you're eating.
Yep. Well, the chief of police is now Brinkers comes to Lizzie. Oh, let me pause for just a second. Just have a city emergencies happening outside. Just want to let that die down. So Brinkers comes to Lizzie and says, "All right, so we would like to contact your hunter now. Would be really nice." So Dave is a little jealous because this guy Jack used to be Lizzie's boyfriend.
Uh-oh.
Again, with I just was real tired of the I was really tired of their relationship, and I know it has to be kind of the glue that it's the filler for the
Yeah.
lion attack movie.
Mm-hmm.
But to Lizzie, I'm like, you need I really want better for you, Lizzie Storm. You're the superhero and you
Yeah.
choose men very poorly and men who treat you really badly. And
I mean, not even
Dave,
like badly. They're just like he's a kind of a playboy.
that's what I mean, but like
He's got a good face card and he's got the
I mean,
floppy hair, but
not
honestly,
badly like abuse, but badly like in like they don't respect your time. They don't respect what you give to this relationship because Dave is sitting there like doing whatever he was doing with that girl at the club. And then when Lizzie is like, "Hey, my ex-boyfriend from 10 years ago,
yeah.
who I rarely see, is an expert in this field. I'm hiring him." And Dave is like, "Ooh, that's what does that mean? Oh, thank God he's in a wheelchair. That means there's no competition here." I'm like, no, fuck all y'all. Like Lizzie, like hashtag do better, Lizzie.
Yes.
Oh, really, Dave, but like I
D-
want Lizzie to have better taste.
I did think it was kind of funny. Like after this sort of like relationship kerfuffle over the ex-boyfriend coming to town, and she's like, "No, it's just professional." Dave is like, "Okay, I'll trust you, I guess," and then leaves. And then Lizzie immediately goes to pull out the scrapbook and is
Yes.
like lovingly like putting her fingers over pictures. She's like, "Oh, remember the good times with my
Uh-huh.
ex-boyfriend?" I was like, "Well, okay, maybe we have maybe we're not being completely honest either, Lizzie. Maybe we
No,
have some half-baked feelings that
it's
we
true. That is
are not
true.
expressing completely about this dude."
She so Jack's big thing, I guess, where he has gone wrong is that Jack is uh, uh, alcoholic probably is the right word,
Yeah.
maybe a right word, but I think it's less about being an alcoholic and more being just a real abuser of alcohol. He seems to go hard into
Yeah.
the alcohol
Yeah.
when he does and not be able to control himself except when he's hunting lions. But this man is drunk almost the
Like
entire
like
time.
half the movie.
Yeah,
My
half the
thing
time.
my thing
There.
is about Jack, he's a thrill seeker.
Yes.
And when he's on the hunt, he's getting that dopamine rush.
Yeah.
But when he's not on the hunt, he's got to thrill seek by drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels and waving a gun around in a place.
Yes. Jack arrives at the park in he's got a all-terrain wheelchair basically.
Yes.
He lost one of his legs while hunting lions before. Um so that's why he's in this wheelchair now. But we already see that he's much better than the cousin who was hired previously because he already is talking about wind speed and direction and everything else, and he
Yes.
already sounds way smarter about hunting lions.
He's the very like it's the difference between the like the person who and they kind of make a big, like kind of a thing of this is the person who hunts for trophies
Yeah.
and the person who hunts for skill because they're
Yeah,
skilled at it.
yeah, because Lizzie makes reference of that when she's mad about them hiring the police chief's cousin, because he's like, he's a safari hunter. They dope those animals
Yeah.
up so they're easier to hunt. This man actually doesn't know what it's like to hunt a wild lion.
Yeah.
Okay, so Martin and Dave are outside the park interviewing people about the lion on the loose, and they end up interviewing this group of skinheads,
Yeah,
basically,
like literal neo-Nazis.
who are full on like vigilantes. Like the thing that they point out is they had gone to Bosnia in to fight and kill the Bosnians on behalf of the Serbs,
Yeah.
which is famously a genocide.
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
and I'm like, wow, we just went in this direction.
Yeah.
And but again, this is Chekhov's skinheads because they're gonna come
Well,
back
that's
in
the
a
thing.
minute.
Like, I
Yeah.
think, like, the thing about this movie is it's kind of going back to the mentality. You mentioned Piranha 3D, and that movie went the sex direction of like sexy.
Yeah.
You get eaten by the bear, or you get eaten by the fish in that case. This is the like, are you kind of the bully of the Friday the 13th friend circle?
Hmm.
You're gonna get got. And I
Yeah.
think that's the mentality of like where the comedy comes in. It's this sort of morality tale that sometimes horror movies get caught up in, especially horror movies of the 80s, the like Tales from the Crypt TV show mode of like, these are going to be short, they're going to be comic book like, we're going to paint these pictures really broad so you can be like, good guy, bad guy's going to get eaten in a way that is a morality tale appropriate to his bad guyness.
Totally. Totally. Well, Brinkers and Jack are talking about and Brinker's like, how do we find the lion? And Jack's like, well, ideally, you would have some of his food because the lions will hoard the food or they'll return to their
Yeah,
food. So,
they're real
if we could
protective.
have the corpse of that police chief's cousin, that would be nice. And of course, the police chief is very unhappy to hear
No.
this request. And he is essentially, it's going to lead to the police chief just firing
Yeah. Outrageous.
Jack
Outlier
that day.
thinking
Like
that
I've
we
already
can't
covered your
have.
flight home tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
First thing tomorrow morning, you fly back home. There is this, I think, unnecessary scene. Like it just doesn't lead to anywhere, but we get a scene wherein this nanny realizes that the
I
two children have snuck
Well,
outside to go
because it's
play on
been
the
like
playground.
40 minutes since we've had a fucking kill.
Yeah.
We got to have some action. We've had
Yep.
too much fucking character development. We need to watch the lion do something.
Yes. Um, but yeah, they go down the slide. The little boy gets to the bottom of the slide and it's
Kitty.
Kitty and then the little girl follows after him and she gets to the bottom of the slide. She just sees that lion like ragdolling this boy.
Yeah.
She
She's
tries
going to
to
need some
climb
therapy. She's going to need some hard therapy.
she tries to climb back up the slide. The lion is after her. And then eventually she slides back. She loses her grip and slides back down the slide. And but it's not the lion, it's the nanny come to get her. It's like, where's Tommy? And then we just see blood
It's like
trail
a
into the
puddle of
woods.
blood.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? That nanny is so fired.
Oh my God.
I feel bad for the nanny that these
I,
stupid fucking kids snuck out of the house and
yeah.
one of them got eaten.
Yeah.
And I also kind of feel bad for the girl who's now going to need like intense therapy for the next 20 years of her life so she can walk into like a natural history museum or to see the Lion King and not like lay on the ground in fits of convulsions.
The police chief has hired a SWAT team now that has surrounded this entire park.
Sure.
And Jack has been fired. So Jack is like, well, I guess if we're fired, oh, hey, I'm meeting Dave for the first time. You seem like a delight. Let's the
Yeah.
three of us go out to dinner. So the three of them are going to go have dinner.
Last night in Amsterdam, let's go on a bender.
So these simultaneous scenes. Do we want to talk about the SWAT team or do we want to talk about dinner first?
Let's go with the SWAT team.
SWAT team. Oh, SWAT team. They're
I
tracking.
like, how does night vision work,
I don't know.
Jeffrey? I mean, I can't say because I've never used night vision goggles. I've never seen them. I've never explored the technology. I've never watched a video on it. I've never done any research, but it all seems a little suspect because it looks like they just took normal footage and they just put it in black and white.
Yeah, most of the time I have seen a movie do night vision. It's done like Silence of the Lambs. Like it's kind of a
Yes.
greenish,
Yeah.
green and black sort of
Yeah.
hue. The eyes of, mammals' eyes like glow on
Yeah.
those
It's
things. It's just,
reflective.
yeah, yeah. It is hypersensitive to a certain wavelength of light, which is why it's only really green, I guess. But these they just kind of like high contrasted some shots of
Yeah.
brush.
So these SWAT team, they're like, we've put a tracker in the middle of the park where we think maybe the lion is. And
Hmm.
we're going to converge on this. So we're just going to sweep the park. And this one fucking team, they get to there. They're like, we think we found a lion. Rustle, rustle, rustle. But there's no lion.
No.
There's just a bunch of chickens.
Yeah.
Like strung up like outside a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. And they clearly did not set these chickens
Yeah.
out. They're kind of staring at them like, what is this? And then
Yeah.
one guy falls through the forest floor into a giant pit filled with spikes, and he's
Pit
fucking
filled
dead.
with stakes, like Indiana Jones style.
And another gets pulled up in like your classic like tree rope trap. Is that
Do those
real?
even exist? Can you make
There's no
those?
way these exist. And then
The
and the
neo-Nazis come out of the
the
brush. They're
neo-Nazis
like,
come out.
"Oh, you're not a lion."
And but meanwhile, the guy hanging in the tree is just like, I mean, he's on full alert at this point with his machine gun, just sees movement coming out of the brush and opens fire. Oh,
He shoots
oh
the
no, because the
neo-Nazis.
neo-Nazis have come out opening fire, thinking they caught a
Yes.
lion. They mow down a bunch of SWAT team. SWAT team is shooting back, mow down these guys.
I think it's a metaphor, Jeffrey.
Oh my God.
It's about violence,
That's right. Don't be
you
violent.
know? Be more violent. It's like the
Anyways,
but yeah, but I mean it's funny that like we've introduced like the most militaristic and the most like, you know, horrible
yeah.
civilians and they just kill each other.
Yeah.
No lion. They don't even see the lion. I love that they introduced like the SWAT team and you're like, "Oh yeah, SWAT team. That could be effective."
Maybe.
Nope, they never even see the lion.
No.
They just die at the hands of a bunch of neo-Nazis.
Yeah. So at the restaurant,
Meanwhile,
okay, Jack is so drunk at this point. Like he's like regaling the tales of hunting lions, and
I
Dave looks just so amused by him.
I mean, I yeah, like he's a like if you got your leg eaten off by a lion, that's an exciting story
Sure.
that a lot of men, a certain kind of
Yep.
man, looking at you, heterosexual men, would be like, whoa,
That's the vibe here.
awesome.
Yeah.
And we kind of get that impression like wherever Dave goes, he's at the bar and business businessmen are like, "Are you that lion hunter?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm a lion hunter. The lion ate off my leg." They're like, "Whoa, let me buy you a drink.
Yeah.
I'm a hunter, but I hunt females. Whoa, you're awesome. You're this is
Unbelievable.
this." And here's the thing, though. Jack lives in that memory.
Yeah.
Like he is never going to get past that moment of his life.
No.
That's why he drinks.
Yeah.
Like he's still caught in that minute. Like that's the story he pulls out when he's encountered younger, floppier dude bros like Dave.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, I've got this story about the time the lion ate my leg." Whoa, you have a story about a time a lion ate your leg? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Lizzie is like, "Oh my God, you're so drunk.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
why don't you two just do it? I'll just do it."
yep. Well, Dave at one point in time, like to demonstrate his point about pulling out his handgun to shoot this lion, pulls out an actual handgun, shoots up at the ceiling, which knocks down a chandelier onto a table of diners across the room. And she says, "Oh," she like pats Jack's hand, Lizzie does, and is like, "Oh, take it easy."
I was gagged. And like people remain so calm.
I can't tell. I really had I think the reason I did my intro about like I don't fully understand Dutch humor
Uh-huh.
is this movie has a lot of beats like this, which I feel like is did anyone tell the actors what movie they're in? Did they tell them about which scenes were like did they shoot Take It Easy? My God. Did they shoot the scene where she says "Take it easy, Jack" before they shot the scene where he shoots the chandelier down? Like, did the actors playing Lizzie Storm not know that the scene before "Take it easy, Jack" was the gun? I don't know. Or is that just Dutch humor
I
to be
think it's I
so understated?
I think it's super understated.
Yeah,
I think it's because the next shot is him, Jack, in jail. So clearly there's consequences for the actions. I think
yeah,
it's just less reactive
yeah.
as American humor, which would be
Yeah.
like people yelling and "Oh my God" and
Be- it would be
and the
way more
Dutch are like,
slapstick in America.
yeah,
Yeah,
like I think the Dutch are like, "Whoa."
Take it easy, Jack.
Put that gun away in public.
Uh-huh.
It's a little more subtle. But the other thing that happens kind of prior to this is Jack admits to Lizzie that he only has like a month to live
He says
because he
1 to 2 years.
cancer.
Yes.
What? What? Oh my God. Like if you look up in the big book of movie cliches, who's gonna die a hero in a movie? I've only got a month to live.
Uh-huh.
This is my last big job. I was like, they're really going for it. They're swinging for the stalls in this one.
They really, oh my God.
I've only
We
got
haven't
a,
even
a
we
I've
haven't
only
even
got a
got
year to live, Lizzie. Can I just get one more kiss just for old times?
well, now Brinkers comes to bail Jack out of
Oh,
jail and is like, "Hey, we got the restaurant to drop all the charges. The chief wants you back because, well, as we know, the SWAT team failed." So Jack,
pesky,
who
pesky
has
lion.
had a fifth of Jack at
Yes.
dinner, is now out in the park that night riding his all-terrain wheelchair around. I'm like, can we wait until tomorrow? Like, get this man a
No,
Pedialyte
no,
and a night's sleep.
no. He's that's the thing about Jack. He bounces back really quick.
Yeah. So Jack is like, all right, get me those bodies that we
Yep.
freshly killed bodies as the
Hmm.
bait. Also, I don't need a tent. I don't need the helicopter. I don't need that noise. It's just me.
Yeah.
I'll do this on my own. Meanwhile, outside, there's a woman telling one of the guards around the park, my dog is still in there.
Oh, lady. That's why we have leash laws.
That's why we have leash laws.
So your dog doesn't get eaten by a lion.
So Jack is using like instead of a, a lion sound machine, he has some kind of call,
Yeah,
which I
like
think is just the
"Caw-caw,
actor holding his
caw-caw,
hand up to his mouth, and
caw-caw,
then the Foley people are just adding these calls in
caw-caw,
later.
Harumi,
Make it a double. So
and also has like lion pheromone
yes,
spray.
yes,
Seems very professional.
he does.
Much more subtle, much less drunk,
Yeah.
much less bravado.
Well, he thinks he sees, so he does hear and see something coming out of the brush, but it is that woman's dog. That dog
Oh,
starts barking, which seems to be like, oh no, the dog ruined everything. But
uh-huh.
actually, it alerts him to the fact that that lion is just over his shoulder.
Right over his shoulder.
He gets a shot off, which scares the lion. The lion starts running, and he starts chasing this wheelchair chase.
Jeffrey Cranor,
Amazing.
Jeffrey, Jeffrey, Jesus Christ Cranor.
Hmm.
This wheelchair chase is I
It's a video game. It looks
I
like a video
don't
game.
know. Like it is like he's zooming around the fucking park in his all-terrain, and this lion is like just bounding over top of the pathways,
Yeah.
but he's also shooting the lion at the same time. So how he's steering the wheelchair and shooting the lion and turning and press, I do not know.
We haven't even gotten to the point where he takes that wheelchair up a set of stairs.
I
And
I
and
said the
listen,
same thing. I was like, "How are you going to get up the stairs, bro?" But that's why he has the all-terrain. That's why he's got the
and
the
and and
the
listen,
the, the,
there
the tank
is
of wheelchairs.
there are really elaborate chairs that will take a
Sure.
person upstairs. But
But they're the like three-pronged kind of things,
and
right?
also the other thing that happens on those is that the chair where the person is seated, it's going to tilt forward. Because the thing is, if
Yeah.
you stay
Yeah, then
perpendicular
your
to the
body
angle of
weight
the
pulls you
ground,
back and you tip back.
especially if you're missing a leg, because that is a front weight now that is lost to ballast. And so when he goes up these stairs that way, I'm like, no one here ever took a physics class.
Physics exists. Not in this movie,
No.
because this lion is defying physics.
Oh my God,
It's literally
constantly.
defying gravity.
Yes. Well, um
So the lion's on the loose.
the lion's
Jack
on the
is on the
loose.
loose. Um,
Lizzie just decides I'm gonna pop into
oh,
this park
oh,
now.
Lizzie. Okay, that's how you listen.
She almost gets her ass shot.
Right? She's like, my friend is all alone out there. The complete professional that I recommended we hire because he's good at his job, he's all alone. I'm like, you realize if you just like start running around the park without any kind of, I don't know, orange vest would be a nice touch at the minimum.
Uh-huh.
You're going to get your ass shot.
Yeah.
That's how hunting accidents, that's literally the definition of a hunting accident.
Yes, that is how this happens. Well, she surprises him. He manages not to pull the trigger on her as she jumps out of the brush. But
But he
there he's
tracks the
like,
lion.
yeah, he's like,
Yeah,
"What's this building?" She says, "Oh, that's the University of Amsterdam Medical School."
because
Oh.
the lion wants a degree in physics
So he can explain how this wheelchair scene makes no sense.
and possibly engineering.
I really thought of him more of a liberal arts guy,
Oh,
but
really?
yeah, I don't know.
I
I
can see
think he'd
that.
be really I think he's interested in like narrative structure, like lit crit
Oh,
type
okay,
of
okay.
yeah.
Well, I mean, as we're going to learn, there's two of them, so why not
Oh,
both?
the explanation, like
This is bananas.
funny jokes
Please.
that we're making for the rationale of why the lions are in this university. The actual explanation is
Uh-huh.
more ludicrous because she's
Uh-huh.
like, well, there's a mortuary there, so that means there's a lot of corpses. I bet that's what the lion is after.
Does that lion know how to fucking read?
What? Yeah,
Does that
one,
lion,
uh,
does that
those corpses are in refrigerators.
in bags, in a basement, in a building? What? You know, that lion, the first day, these gay ass lions
Mm.
that thought they were here for Pride Week because they're both men. They're both male lions. Inexplicably.
Uh-huh.
They got to Amsterdam. They're like, "Oh no, we missed Pride. Fuck. What are we going to do?" And this is literally just they're going to hit all the tourist spots. They got to the Van Gogh Museum. They tried to take a train to the Van Gogh Museum, but the tram director rammed the tram into a building. Then they realized the Van Gogh Museum line was too long. So they're like, okay, let's go to Vondel Park and hang out there. And they tried to eat a dog, but the dog ran away. So then they're like, well, I don't know. Do you want to get something to eat? I guess so. Where's a good restaurant? Oh, there's a university right next door.
Let's check out their food court.
Let's check out their food court. Oh, it's midnight. The food court's closed. Oh, they have a morgue. Let's eat some dead bodies. Honestly, I think they should be tour guides. I think you should hire these lions as official tour guides to Amsterdam.
I'd love that. Well, for there, it's in the University of Amsterdam
Somewhere.
Medical School. They get into this front area, and there's a security guard dead on the floor.
This is the most Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Yes.
section. I mean, it doesn't help that Mark Frost looks just like the actor who plays Giles on Buffy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He absolutely does.
Like Murray Head, that's his name.
Yeah, Murray Head.
Like
He
I
does
kept
look just like
I was
Murray Head.
like they have that very like late 80s musical theater
Uh-huh.
British look about him. Like he's gonna start singing chess any moment, you know?
So they get in this front area, looking at it's Lizzie and Jack, and then Lion attacks Jack, chomps on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Lizzie, Lizzie gets his gun and fires at it, but then it chases her under a couch.
Yeah.
And then he shoots the lion again and it chases him through the classroom.
Yeah.
Again, his wheelchair's already gone up the outside
Going
stairs. It's
up,
going up through the classroom stairs, up through
like,
the
yeah, like up
auditorium.
an auditory. Yeah. Like and again, they are like no more
Hmm.
than 10 feet away from this lion when they're shooting at it with a high powered rifle
Yeah.
and a handgun.
Yeah.
And they're shooting at each other
Uh-huh.
while the lion is attacking them. Like at one point, I was like, did she just shoot him, meaning Jack, in the head? Did she
It,
just shoot her friend in the head? Because that would have been a wild ending to this movie where Lizzie accidentally kills her ex-boyfriend while trying
uh-huh.
to kill the lion. That's some guilt right
Yeah.
there. But this lion, nonplussed
Yeah,
every
completely.
single
Yeah,
time.
bullets go right through it. So we've got kind of this where's the lion now? Because it stops pursuing Jack. Lizzie is out in the lobby area and she is using the radio from the security guard being like, can anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me? No one responds. So she's hiding, but then the lion comes back into the lobby and she's hiding behind the desk. And all of a sudden, the radio squawks, be like, yeah, what's your 20 over? And the lion comes
Oh
forward and she
dear.
tries to shoot it, but she's out of bullets.
Oh no. She throws the gun at the lion's face.
Uh huh.
Classic.
Classic. So good. But she manages to get away and close the door behind her into this supply closet. Where is she? I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. Something like
So he is okay. I'm trying. Let's just do a quick architecture review. This is the
okay,
ground.
sure.
This is the ground floor because it's the lobby, right? It's the main.
Yeah,
This is floor one.
yeah.
I know Europe numbers their floors
Right,
differently.
yeah.
This is lobby floor, the entrance level floor. He has gone up the stairs
Hmm.
when the lion pursued him. So he is a floor up because he's gone all the way up the stairs of this big auditorium.
Yes.
So he's a floor above the lobby. The escape route that she took was into
Supply closet on floor
supply
one.
closet, floor one.
And then she
He,
gets into the ducts above the floor.
oh, that's what happened. She gets in the
Yeah.
ducts above. But he's still on the upper floor, roaming around the
Uh-huh.
hallways. At one
Yeah.
point in time, she crashes through out of the ducts through the ceiling, and I don't know how she got a floor above
Because
him.
she had to then be another floor above.
Is there an
But you know
elevator
what?
in the ductworks?
Uh-huh. And somewhere in there, the lion comes crashing through. Oh, we already had covered that. Where the lion comes crashing through the we're like, where's the lion? And it comes crashing through the stained glass,
That's right.
which I
Yes,
thought was a
yes.
nice little touch. But
Uh-huh.
we already hit that. But then, listen, Jack, you're a professional.
Yeah.
And I know you didn't anticipate a lion chase through Vondel Park this evening, but you did anticipate a long day.
His wheelchair runs out of battery.
Oh my God. How?
One, I don't think that handgun got discharged that much either. And so I was wondering, one, why did you only have like four bullets in a
Right?
clip that probably holds at least 12?
Yeah.
Two, why didn't you charge your wheelchair?
Yeah.
Three, where's your shotgun? You have two shells in your
Yeah.
jacket, but like only two. There's clearly room for more.
I'm also like, they make backup batteries. Like carry an extra battery cell.
Yeah.
I mean, probably he did think he was just going to be sitting in one place, but and we didn't anticipate the CGI lion chase.
If I'm leaving my apartment to just meet somebody for dinner and I know I'm going to be gone for 2.5 hours, the whole time not using my phone, I will charge it to 100%
Yeah.
before I leave my apartment.
I was even more surprised that he just pulls out like a two-prong Euro charger. I was like it's a fucking like a toaster. I was like,
Uh,
is that natural? Is that right?
it seems like
Because
that
you're gonna have to be.
that
It's gonna
vehicle
take
needs a
hours.
different type of charge.
Like I feel like that's gonna require more voltage if it
Yes,
can literally move a human being across. Like,
at 30 miles an hour through a
yeah,
forest. Yeah.
it's gonna need more than like a lamp from IKEA.
No, this needs like an EV charger, like for the
Yeah,
Tesla. Yeah.
but he doesn't even get to he doesn't even get to
No,
plug it in
because he
because
immediately
the
turns around and there's the lion at the end
he
of the
gets
hallway.
lion tingles. That's what they should have called this movie. Lion tingles.
Lizzie
Now listen,
Storm
Jeffrey.
and the lion tingles.
Lizzie Storm, the case of the lion tingles.
So he waits till the lion
Oh,
starts charging before he shoots at it. One.
he this like it is like a fucking shooting gallery. Long, straight hallway, flat surface, lion coming straight like 50 yard, like straight hallway, shooting a rifle. No wind, not moving.
Uh-huh.
Lion coming at you. Yes, lion is moving, but you are stationary. He unloads like 4 bullets. Does
Not a one of
nothing.
them hit.
Does nothing.
No.
Is the lion made of titanium? I think it's the Terminator of lions. Like that lion is made of titanium.
Yeah, it's really I think it just has the one hole in the back of its head that you can run
That's
a
it.
stick through, and that's
It's
it.
yeah, it's like you hit the restart button.
Yeah. Well, he, push, he drives his wheelchair backwards, goes through the door of the library, and then over the railing backwards onto the floor. His gun gets hung up on the banister above, so he
Okay, so
doesn't
we
have his
don't have a
gun
rifle
anymore.
anymore. The lion's chomping on his other leg.
Yeah, because he gets stuck momentarily, but he frees himself and falls to the floor below. Okay. He
Nothing.
crawls he crawls through the hallways until he finds the mortuary, which I'm like, great plan. Found the mortuary because then he can seal the door with his belt and
No,
then
wait. No,
start
wait.
tending to his wounds.
Yes.
That's the idea.
He
Like
makes a tourniquet.
makes a tourniquet. He's got a lot of pads, a lot of hydrogen peroxide,
Yeah.
some neosporin, I bet,
Yeah.
whatever else he needs to heal all of these wounds. And he's sealed the door with his
Yeah.
belt to buy him some time from
Because
this
that,
lion.
yeah, I know. Like, yeah, the lion's gonna burst through there, but at least gives him a minute.
Gives him another minute or so. Lizzie suddenly crashes through the ceiling. I don't.
There's only one plan. There's only one way out of this, Jeffrey.
Only one way.
Only one way. The
He has a,
only way.
and it is with a canister of a. I'm gonna try and pronounce the chemical name that is printed on the side of this canister. I think it's pronounced toxic gas is the chemical name.
The actual chemical name, like the scientific
Yes.
name.
Yes. Y'all can tell me in the comments on our Patreon
Toxic
if I
gas.
did I pronounce that right. I didn't
Uh-huh.
only took one chemistry class in high school. Toxic gas, it says on the side of this canister. Oh, you're planning on killing yourself, aren't you? Is what she asks of Jack, and Jack's like, gotta get rid of this fucking lion.
Yeah.
So do me a favor, he asks. Two things I require of you. One, can you redirect my blood stain on the floor to go into this room back here so that the lion will follow the scent into there, which is where we'll do the toxic gas thing? Two, can you saw off my leg with this bone saw below my knees so that we can use this as bait?
Does this seem 100% necessary?
No! And
Like,
she does. Like,
and she, yeah,
this woman reacts to nothing. Lizzie
Dutch.
Storm. Lizzie
Lizzie
Storm,
Storm,
Dutch as fuck.
Dutch as fuck. She's like, well, if it must be done, I used to love you, but now I will saw off your leg. Are you ready? Good. Here we go.
Cecil, if you ever need me to saw off any of your body parts with a bone saw,
Oh, no. No,
if
you're
you
going to
ever
kill
did,
me. No, Jeffrey, you're going to kill me before that ever happens.
that's my
I
assumption.
take
Just
death before
know
dismemberment.
I will I will give you many chances with, "Are you sure? Oh, tell
Mm-mm.
me more about your plan, Cecil, of why I need to cut
Mm-mm.
your leg off."
Because I'm like, okay,
But
because
she's like,
then
"Let's do it."
she's all in. Are you sure? Well, there's no other way. There's no other way. And then when I actually see the plan in motion, I'm like, you realize you could have just like dribbled the blood over there.
Yeah.
And then also, you, Jack, are sitting right there,
Uh-huh.
bleeding and farting and sweating and
Uh-huh.
breathing right there. And
Yes.
that lion,
Uh-huh.
even though there's a trail, is there like a little trail of blood that goes off that way? That lion can probably smell you,
Yes.
despite the toxic gas, is it?
Uh-huh. That's the chemical name.
Okay. All right. Well, now you have cut off your own leg in order to, and but you know what? His plan works perfectly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it follows the blood trail and into that room, sees his leg, and it's like, "Yay, victory, I've got his leg." She slams that door shut and she's got a gas mask on, and Lizzie opens the toxic gas in the lion's face
Yep.
as it's attacking her, and it manages to slap that gas mask right off her face and break
Oh
the glass on it.
no.
So she is now locked in this room
Oh
with toxic gas.
no.
Fortunately, Dave had shown up at the medical
Oh,
school. Not sure how
see,
they
that's
knew
why
he
you
was
keep
there.
that's why you keep a spare boyfriend around.
Do need the spare boyfriend. And Dave comes into that room, sees Jack
Jack is
dead
on
and with
death's
two
door.
missing legs now,
Yeah.
and is like, "What the fuck?" Can hear something in the other
Hurry,
room,
hurry.
opens the door. Lizzie falls out into his arms.
But here's the thing. Don't let the lion out.
Yeah, you got what you need. Close that door.
Close the door. It's like when you take a really smelly shit
Uh-huh.
in a bathroom in a public
Same one.
space, you gotta like open the door then close the door.
Yeah,
Open then close.
yeah,
Like it's that simple.
yeah.
Dave, you must know that I mean, and like Lizzie falls into his arms and it's all like, oh, romance. Don't let the lion out.
Yeah, that's a very clear objective.
Dave, but
Well,
but the lion gets out
a lion gets
in
out.
a cloud of toxic gas.
Neither the lion nor Lizzie is lightheaded. They just
No.
are.
Oh
They're
no,
fine.
they're
Yeah.
100% fine within 10 seconds
Yes.
because they're back to fighting that lion.
And the lion attacks Dave, and he's holding it off with a rolling stool. And she comes up behind. She finds a 24-inch metal spike, which,
She finds a sword or
yeah,
something. I was like,
yeah, it
what
does look
kind
like a
of
sword. It's got
science
like
are
a
you all
handle.
doing
Yeah,
down here? I'd also like to point out
Dutch
Dave
science.
has his camera the entire time and films none of this. None of it.
Well, to be fair to Dave, he does have a lion on top of him right now.
I I don't know. Like his whole pretense for going into the building is like, oh, we
Oh,
need to
to
get
yes.
like we need to film all this because we're the only like ITV correspondents that are allowed
Uh-huh.
on the site. And like, Martin is being arrested by the police, so Dave can go in and film shit. He
Yeah.
doesn't even turn the camera on. I'm like, dude, you are on like
Yeah.
not only are you a bad boyfriend, you're a bad cameraman.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't even turn the light on.
Well, she manages to get that medical sword
She
through the
she
back of this
she
lion's skull.
sabers the lion.
And that the tip of the sword comes out of the lion's mouth, just inches from Dave's face.
Yes. Can you imagine if she had killed both her boyfriends that day?
Amazing.
She's like, I sawed off one of my ex-boyfriend's leg, and then I stabbed the other one in the head with a
Through a lion.
sword.
A medical sword.
Medical, please. The technical term is medical saber.
Yes. You know those classic operating room dramas are like scalpel, saber.
Shing.
Nunchucks. So they are
Oh, lion. How we
okay.
killed the lion. Thank God.
I think my favorite part of this movie is at the end. Just it's such a weirdly absurd scene, but it's one, they are carrying the lion on like a forklift.
Yeah, because it's big.
It's big. They left the sword in its head. It's just draped over for everyone to see, as opposed to like often in a scene like this, in a crime scene where anybody has died, they cover humans with sheets, but the lion itself, they're like, no, 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 we're gonna parade this
Oh,
motherfucker
yeah.
around. And there's Dave filming it.
Yes.
And then Lizzie rides in the ambulance with Jack's body because he's
Yes.
dead. And Dave goes and stands by Brinkers, and Brinkers gives Dave a
A
Mentos,
fucking Mentos.
which
It's not the
Netherlands
first time.
Netherlands own Mentos. Yeah.
Brinkers has been eating Mentos the entire movie. And every time he does, I'm like, the fresh maker.
This is all one long Mentos commercial,
It
where
is.
like at the end somebody just holds up the Mentos and they're like, "Oh, I see why you're a dick."
Mentos better, fresh goes better, fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full
Full
of
of
life. And
life.
then they all jump in the air with the lion. And the lion's got like a thing of Mentos in its paw.
But you remember those 90s commercials was always
Yeah.
like people doing something really shitty. Like there's the one where
Yeah,
like
like
the
trying
the
to put a
stretch.
couch together or something.
Well, it would the one I remember that comes to mind immediately was there's a moment where there's like a stretch limo and this like wealthy guy in the back like on a giant cell phone, and then this group of young people like open the side door, climb in, and go all the way through the limo, and he's
Yes.
like staring at them like, what the fuck are you doing in my car?
But they just
And then
keep going
then the
through.
last one comes out and he turns around and just shows him that he's got a pack of Mentos, and the guy's like, oh, of course that's why you're like this.
Yes. Because
And
you're
everyone
Dutch.
smiles, and it
Because you're Dutch and you're
that's
high on Mentos.
how I wanted this to end, which was the lion killing everyone, but then showing the chief of police the Mentos, and the chief of police going, "Oh, of course," and they
And
all
it
thumbs
freeze
up.
frames
Yeah.
and then credits roll.
Well, we're not done yet,
Oh
Cecil.
my goodness gracious.
In the ambulance, Lizzie calls Dave. She's like, "Hey, great timing showing up like that. Listen, the only other person I've ever loved is dead now. So maybe you can come back over and spend the night tonight. I'm kind of in the mood to fuck, given
Yeah.
all the things that have happened
She's like, but
today."
do please get rid of those stinky man underpants that you always wear.
Yeah. And Dave says, actually, this is good timing because like Martin's already kicked me out of
Yeah, so I'm
his
homeless.
place.
I'm
Like,
effectively homeless right now.
wait, what the fuck, Martin? Anyways, then Dave says, so crazy that that line was so strong that it could get through a window on the second floor like that. She's like, no,
No,
it
we're in
got
the
in through the
basement.
basement. We saw where it entered in the basement. And then, oh, and this is when the ambulance pulls up to the railroad crossing.
There's a train a coming.
Train a coming, and they're waiting on this thing. And the passenger EMT guy is like, oh, I hear something funny outside.
Rustle, rustle, rustle.
Rustle, 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 rustle. And he
I
opens
love
the door, and she's like, no, wait.
this. So this other lion
Mm-hmm.
has followed
The ambulance?
the ambulance. So this lion is clearly pre-law.
Oh, man. That's so
And
good.
good nights. So we rate this
Oh,
film.
that's so good. Uh, this is the highest. This has the highest ratio of enjoyment of recording an episode to watching the movie I think that I've
Oh, this
had.
movie was it like gobsmacked
Uh,
so many times while watching this movie, but in discussion, a lot of fun.
yeah, gobsmacked is a great word. Well, that lion tears the door off the ambulance. sets its teeth to puree, dives into the cab of the ambulance, and
Kills
then
both the
comes,
EMTs.
yeah, and then comes to the back towards Lizzie and Jack, and she gets out the back, and that sounded like beat poetry for a second there.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Yeah.
and so there's a van behind
Jeffrey's
her.
spitting bars on this episode of Random Horror 9.
There's an old man in his van in line behind them on the road behind this crossing, and the guy stepped out of the van to be like, "What the shit's happening?" She just, without saying a word, commandeers his van,
I know.
drives it into the back of the ambulance to push the ambulance into the line of the train.
Yes.
Not even thinking, is this a
Passenger
how many
train.
people are on board this fucking train?
Who? Lizzie Storm does not give a fuck about collateral damage.
No, she does not. And the lion has broken her windshield and is pawing at
Yeah.
her, but she gets it right to the train and it demolishes that lion and that ambulance, and it explodes like it's 1979.
Yeah. It's a good thing you didn't get hurt, Lizzie, even though it sort of tumbled your van around.
Yeah. But she's fine. And
And
now she's having a happy day in the park.
yeah,
A year later, I guess. I
yeah,
don't know.
her and Dave are together. They don't have a baby, but they have a dog, which we all know that's the next step is
Yeah,
having a
yeah,
baby. So,
yeah. Oh, but the dog in the park. Where'd the dog go? What the dog doing?
what the
Let's
dog doing?
call the dog out. Let's call the dog's name.
Simba.
Simba!
Simba. Oh, why did
Simba,
we call
where are
the
you,
dog Simba?
Simba?
Dumb name.
So stupid. And then as they walk off happy together, camera zooms into the brush.
Can't even say it. You can't even say it with a straight face. Can't even say it.
I was waiting for so many things to happen. Okay,
Can't even say it.
here's what I thought was going to happen.
Okay, sure.
None of these are the best pitch, but
Mhm.
I'm just saying, like, it's a horror movie. You need
Yeah.
to end on a beat, like Piranha 3D. The
Yeah,
giant
yes.
fish takes
Something
out Adam
has to
Scott.
jump out of the
Yeah.
camera, right?
What I thought was, I know it's two male lions, but like, what if it revealed there's a lion cubs?
Like a really angry. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, these gay
Oh,
ass lions
lion
have
cubs.
adopted baby
Oh,
cubs.
yeah, yeah. Two, there's just a third lion that like leaps
Another giant,
forward.
another Terminator lion. Yeah.
Yes. But what they did was just shake one of the branches of this bush, and somebody
Probably
added the sound effect.
It's probably just a pigeon
The end.
or a rat. Knowing Amsterdam, probably a rat.
Shall we rate this movie, Cecil?
Yes, let's.
All right. How approachable is this if you're horror film averse, like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all approachable, 10 being super approachable? I'll give Prey like 5 bone saws out of 10. Like honestly, it is pretty gory. There's a lot of just chopped up human parts. It was I was pretty queasy watching her like bone saw his leg off. Like Jesus Christ. Most of it is splattery. Like I'd say we're on par with like an alien movie in terms of its like gore type of thing. Um, if you find any, like the movie does a couple of like jump scare sort of things, and it will fucking kill a child on you, like on
Yeah.
screen. It will murder a child on you. So just know that that is there as well. Animal death, child death, that sort of thing. I don't know, let's just put it right in the middle. It's pretty gory, but like in a really CGI sort of way. But it is, I don't know if funny is the right word, but it's definitely inexplicable. And I think to Cecil's point,
Uncanny, perhaps.
uncanny. I think there's a lot of potential for a great time in watching this movie. Cecil, to speak nothing of approachability, how do you rate this as a horror film?
As a horror film, it's an interesting one because I think they do a great job with the splatter business of
Mhm.
horror. Like the special effects are no, the practical effects are really good. So like when they have dead bodies hanging from trees or things happening. They're actually really good. It's the CGI kind of is where they stumble a bit. But when
Uh-huh.
you're making a movie about a CGI lion run around the city, that's going to be a good portion of your movie.
Yeah.
Um, so it's not scary as much as it is funny for much of it, funny and gross.
Yes.
So if you're Dutch and you find things funny, you might like this movie. And if it's gross and you like gross things in horror movies, you might like that aspect of this movie. So I would say like 4 out of 10 lion claw necklaces with Lizzie Storm written on
Hmm.
them.
Well, I think that is fair enough. Let us figure out what movie we will watch next. You've got a scare die. I've got a style die. We will roll those up and see what horror movie matches that pairing. Cecil, on your scare die, if you roll a one, our next movie's scare is mythological. Two, Contagion. Three, creepy kids. Four, Alien. Five, something paranormal. Or six, Psycho Killer. What's our scare?
Two,
Contagion. Ooh, I sense a zombie in our future.
don't
Maybe
breathe on
not,
me.
but zombie
Don't
there.
breathe on me.
Okay, let's match your contagion scare with the style that I roll. If I roll a one, next movie's got to be based on a book. Two, it's got to have a one-word title. Three, it's got to be a sequel, prequel, or remake. Four, it's got to be set in New York, New York. Or five, it's got to be from the 2000s. All right, let's see what we got here. I got a six. Weird. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped the thing.
Yeah, you didn't say
I,
wild
I
card,
forgot
but
to
that's a
say that
wild
six.
card.
I skipped wild card. I'm sorry, but six is a wild card, is what we rolled. I'm sorry. I was like, wait, I don't remember saying wild card out loud. If I roll a six, it is a wild card, which I just rolled a six. I promise that's a real thing. So we are wild carding Contagion.
Wild
That's right.
card.
All right. Well, that was it's gonna be pretty easy because when we get a
Oh,
wild
here we
card, that's just you and I have
go.
picked three movies that fit whatever the scare is, and let's talk about the movies we picked. Cecil, what did you put
Okay.
on this list?
I put two movies that I haven't seen that I've have been on my list,
Uh-huh.
and one that I have seen that I really enjoy.
Okay.
The first one is The Bay. I've never seen this. It's come up on so many lists. As a very like realistic, like what happens when microorganisms attack a small community
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Yeah, everybody's like really realistic and super scary. I've been super curious about this. The second one I put on there is the remake of the film The Crazies from 2010. Now, I love George Romero's the original The Crazies. It's a bit of a flawed movie, great concept. So in 2010 they did a remake that has super cute Timothy Oliphant in it. So eye
Mm.
candy, and they also kind of upped the plot a bit.
Okay.
And I think this is a really great example of a remake that does a very good job of taking an original concept and not improving, but like taking a solid idea and making a solid movie
Great.
out of a horror film.
Hold on
And
just one
then,
second. Let me get my door real fast because a package, I think. Sorry. Let's continue.
and then the last film is another film that I have not seen that kind of slipped under my radar, and that is the 2011 film Contagion,
Is this
Steven
Soderbergh's?
Soderbergh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie came out, and I just missed it. Like
Hmm.
I think I'd maybe heard of it, but I just didn't see it. And it's got like Matt Damon, Lawrence Fishburne, like a bunch of famous people in it. And then the pandemic happened, and people went, "Holy shit, this movie is actually quite prescient in how this played out."
Yeah.
So I I think it's going to be in what did we watch? The other Steven Soderbergh film, um, what
Unsane.
Unsane.
Mhm.
So I think if the Bay is going to be more creepy, grossy, I think Contagion is going to be more uncanny, realistic look at
Yeah.
the contagious aspect. So, and then The Crazies is going to be just a good old fashioned horror film. So those
Yeah.
are my three.
I like that. I have three on here that I haven't seen at all. The first is the Eli Roth Cabin Fever.
I haven't seen this since it came out in theaters.
I am sort of terrified to watch this because Eli Roth is a lot,
You don't pull
and
no punches,
yeah,
especially early Eli Roth. I think Eli Roth, he's kind of like, he's softened up a bit in his later years, I
yeah,
would
I
say.
can see that. But this movie comes up in a lot of like best of lists, especially when you talk about like zombie contagion,
Yeah.
illness, sort of brain eating, whatever.
It's also very like of a time period in horror filmmaking. I think it's a
Uh-huh.
very good example of the time period it was made.
Second one is one that I haven't seen yet either, which is Smile.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
So I
yeah.
this one I thought would be really interesting. Smile 2 just came out a couple months ago, and I think there's a lot of people that really enjoyed the second Smile, maybe even more than the first, but I haven't seen the first, and this is a different type of contagion, which I
Almost
think
like
is
the like almost
interesting.
chain letter, the ring style
Yeah.
contagiousness. Yeah.
Yeah. And third I put REC 2,
Oh,
which is the
yeah.
Spanish
Good old
zombie
fashioned.
found
Like we got to have a
footage.
zombie on here somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And the Wreck franchise is just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is the one that takes place at a wedding. Is that the wedding one?
It might be. I don't know. I don't know
Can't
anything.
remember.
I just thought we'd done Rec 1 and I enjoyed it. And why not see what REC 2 has to offer?
No, I think no, we're still in the apartment building for this
Okay.
one. I think it's Rec 3 that's at the
That's at the
like it's a
wedding.
wedding
Okay.
found it's
All
like a
right.
found footage at a wedding.
So those are the three that I
Okay,
brought to the table.
cool.
It sounds
I
fun,
think we have
whatever we
we have
do.
a
I
good
think
spread.
I rolled last time, so I
Yeah, you
think
want me
it's
to
your
go?
turn to roll up. So we're just going order on this list. If you roll a one, it's the Bay, two, the Crazies, three, Contagion, four, Cabin Fever, five, Smile, six, Wreck 2.
That's a three.
Contagion,
Ooh.
Soderbergh.
Oh, how very adult of us.
Oh my gosh. This is
Would
I'm
you?
gonna have a lot of like 2020 nostalgia because I
Yeah,
remember people just nonstop talking about this
right.
movie in
Yeah.
2020. But I never went back to rewatch it at all, and
Me neither.
I've really enjoyed, I think, every Soderbergh I've watched.
Yeah.
I just think he is an extraordinarily talented filmmaker. I think his least enjoyable movie is absolutely competent and well produced.
I
And
mean, and compared to Prey, I think we have nowhere to go but up.
yes, yeah. Oh, going from Prey to Soderbergh,
Listen,
night and
it's
day.
it's a wild ride on this podcast.
I'm excited to get to watch what I can only presume is a really solidly made film.
Yeah,
Do
the Get
those
Out.
even exist? I can't
Well,
even
we're
imagine.
I know, crazy, right? But I think we're gonna have some feels next week. So
Yeah.
thoughts and feelings.
Ugh. Thoughts and prayers. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Cecil, for talking with me. And if you have thoughts on Prey or ideas for other movies that would have been your wild card contagion horror film, let us know at Random Horror 9 on our Patreon or our Instagram. Our Patreon, we have public discussion threads, and you don't have to be a paying member to participate in those. And watch Contagion 2011 with us this week. And come on back next Tuesday for a new episode. Have a restful night with no incompetent sons getting killed in your bear trap or nothing. Woo.
Boo.